Much hop to the family, much hop to the tribe. Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Templar Up. I'm your host and I'm your Templar Irvin Reed. Shabbat Shalom. Halel Hawa, Halel Hawa. Pascopia to you and yours. Today I'm going to try to be concise, try to shoot straight to the point, and try to do this in a single take. I wanted to. Well, let me start here. I noticed that over the last couple of days, in the copper thread, digging on the different drops that's coming at you, that there's a thing going on where there seems to be a transition. You know, for the last 2 to 4 years, we've been harping really hard on, to see clearly when it comes down to the code, and we seem to be transitioning to B phase. And I'm reminded of the Matrix when Neo first started showing his powers when he saved Morpheus, right? And he tries to turn around and tell Morpheus that the Oracle gave him bad news, and Morpheus stopped him after seeing what he could do, right? And saying, the Oracle only told you what you needed to hear. You know what I'm saying? He had to learn, like everybody else, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking it. And I think that's where we're at. In keeping with the Matrix theme, you know what I'm saying? We're in the Matrix in the trilogy. We're really only at the end of the first movie where, Agent Smith pops off 9 to 13 times. Neo drops. You know what I'm saying? Right? He falls in that stupor. And he refused to submit to the stupor, right? And he chooses to choose up. And he gets back up. And what's his first words when he stands up? He's like, no. You know what I'm saying? And that was the first time, despite being able to use his abilities in the Matrix, right? That was the first time he was able to do what? See the code. And from then, everything else just popped off. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now. I always get awkward or feel weird in these moments, but we seem to come, just always do. You know what I'm saying? So let's take care of a few things first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? So much ado to everybody out there digging on a drop, surfing the wave. And much ado to you for all the support in every way that you support. You know what I'm saying? Please, as always, click on the link and check out the GoFundMe and continue to support the family down in Texas. And with that being said, let's do a quick check-in on the fundraiser. Where we at? All right. So right now, you know what I'm saying, we didn't increase on the donors themselves. Much Tawada, and much a hop to you. We appreciate you. And right now, we're at that 6 to 11 mark. You know what I'm saying? So we just now coming out the blocks. You know what I'm saying? We ready to enter that stride, and I appreciate especially all the repeat donors. So it's on and popping. The waters are flowing, the fires are burning. You know what I'm saying? The air is blowing, and the earth is solidifying. All right, now what we gonna do today? Well, what I'm gonna do today is What we're gonna do today is make sure my water is good. That's what we're gonna do first. Let's dig on it. What you got going on? What's that? Oh man. All right, so we got some Zion music playing. Check on the water. What? Dragons are popping off in China. Some of these drugs, I gotta go back and watch again. Where's my water? Where's my water? There we go. Get a refresh real quick. All right, cool beans. We refreshed. We good. All right, so what I like to do is this ain't gonna get linky. This ain't gonna be long. I'm gonna try to make this kind of direct and straight to the point. What I want to do today is try to break down the code in layman's terms, and I think that that's important for a couple of different reasons. You know, since I've been putting together the code series, as it were, I've learned something and I've noticed something. And you can really boil down the code into two words. And, you know, framer and shaper, right? And before we begin, let me say it this way. The two words that encapsulates the code, that the code is almost the unspoken truth of the code, is be genuine. Be genuine. Now, speaking of the Matrix, at this point, you can take the blue pill, exit stage left, and believe whatever you want to believe. Or, you know what I'm saying, you can take the red pill, and let's see how deep this really goes, right? So, that's your quote-unquote YouTube spoiler warning, as it were. All right. Be genuine, right? Now, why do I say that? Because I think I mentioned it before. In the last drop, or recently, that I would rather have a honest enemy than a lying friend, right? You'd rather have an honest enemy than a lying friend. And that goes back to simply being genuine. The be being the framer, right? To be, Hawa. And then the shaper would be genuine, the word genuine. So let's dig on it. Because once you get this, it's not, you can't unlearn it. Right? Now, genuine. Let's go deep. Now, genuine, meaning what? Natural, right? Not acquired. From Latin, genuineness, native, right? Natural. Innate, from the root, gingeneer. What is that? Gignir, to beget, right? Produce. From the pi, star, gene, or gene, right? To give birth, beget. Perhaps influence, inform, and informed by contrasting adulterinius, almost sound like adultery, right? Spurious. Alternate etymology is from Latin genu, knee, right? We always talk about bending the knee, from a supposed ancient custom of a father, right, acknowledging paternity of a newborn, right, by placing it on his knee. Now, don't you get and I hope you immediately, what probably should come to mind, thinking about Max Spears, right, is what? Santa Claus putting the children on his knee, right? Granting them their quote unquote Christmas wish, right? Meaning really proceeding from its reputed source. Its reputed source, is from 1660s, right? 1660s, right? But we talking about natural. Shout out to Natural by Law. And if you ain't been on that ether bus, you better hop on it and hop on it quick. Hop on it and hop on it quick. All right, now let's take it to Webster's Dictionary. Genuine, an adjective, right? And there's the Latin again. From what? Enus, or its root. See, gender, right? Meaning what? Native, right? Belonging to the original stock, hence real, natural, true, pure. Not so. And I remember we were digging on the code drop, right? How white means pure. So you can have a pure Naga who is quote unquote black, but he is considered white, right? Not spurious, right? False or adulterated, right? You unadulterated. The Gauls are allegedly, right? Supposed to be genuine descendants of the Celts. Supposedly, right? Allegedly. Vices and crimes are the genuine effects of depravity, as virtue, right, and piety, right, we're talking about the 9 worthies, are the genuine fruit of holiness. It is supposed we have the genuine text of Homer. Supposed, right? Homer is where you get all a lot of your ancient drop, right? Homer, Plato, right? Okay. All right, so let's see what Mr. Webster means by native. Okay, produced by nature or original. Born with the being. What being? Are we talking about the framer and shaper? The breath of life? Hawa? The inhale, exhale? Right? Natural. Not acquired. Okay? As native genius, native affections, native talent, right? Or disposition, right? And a definition of a dragon is, right, this man or woman is fierce, right? Violent. That's the dragon's, to be fierce is a dragon's native disposition. Native cheerfulness, right? Native simplicity. Number 2, produced by nature, right? Not factitious or artificial. Now, pay close attention. He didn't say fictitious. He said factitious. We're just talking about phantoms and duplications and timelines in history. You have to understand that to have a ecclesiastical law, it's to ecclesiastical law supersedes admiralty law, or the law of the water, and the law of the land, any constitutional or treaty law. You know what I'm saying? This is why Abraham made sure he purchased everything, and Egypt had all the records of that purchase, right? The land of Canaan, right? Wow. All right, let's go. Now, as native or, right? Now, if you notice, every time we talk about the Aboriginal, me, you, right, in America, right, the Amaru Khan, Swan Knights, there's always an electrical reference, a metallic reference, right? Right. We get it all the time because it's true. But the way we understand the content of the, we've come a long way understanding a lot of content, and we're beginning our next part of the journey, right? In understanding the content, with the context. How does this work? How does this apply? Now, what are we talking about? We're talking about promises. A promise is a promise. Inheritance, right? It's conferred by birth as native rights and privileges, right? This is why you gotta dig on the black codes, and why you gotta dig on Black Law Dictionary and all that other extra stuff. Now, pertaining to the place of birth as native soil, native country, or native graves. Number 5, original, right? Original. That water was feeling good. Let's go back. Yeah. All right, let's get it. Where were we? We were talking about native, right? Yeah. That of which anything is made as man's native dust, born with, congenial, right? Congenial, right? All right. Native, noun. Now we're talking about that was a descriptor. Now we're talking about a person, place, or a thing, right? A noun, noon, right? One born in any place is said to be a native of that place, whether country, city, or town. Offspring. Now, do you understand what a native is? Okay. Now check this out. Check this out. Take it to the etymology. All right. Native. And there's that pie again, right? Right. And we've dug on this pie before. And we're going to dig on it again, hopefully for the dismount. Native, late 14th century, right? Native, natural, inborn, heredity, connected with something in a natural way. From Old French, native, right? Born in, raw, unspoiled, right? So when you hear these books talking about booty, they really mean booty. Rape and pillage, male or female, right? 14th century, indirectly, as well as money and currency. Let's see here, indirectly from Latin, nativus, right? Innate, produced by birth, from natus, past participle, nasci, right? Almost sounds like how's it go? Anasazi or Ashkenazi, right? Old Latin, because the G is silent, so it's the same, meaning be born, right? Related to genere, which is to beget, right? From the root, gene, give birth, beget. with derivative referring to procreation and familial and tribal groups, right? From early 15th century as born in a particular place of indigenous origin or growth, not exotic or foreign. Now this goes back into what I was trying to point out and bring up as far as on this land there's 3 laws. It may not be for other lands, and that's what we got to understand. It might not be like this for other lands, but on these lands we have 3 laws. We have ecclesiastical law. We have the law of heaven. We have the law of the land, and then we have the law of water. Okay, and it's always been that way. You know, the stranger that's on your land is the one that is exotic, right? Because they're trying to choose up. They're trying to become native by being born here. And then you have those who are foreign, right? The Gentile, who doesn't disconnect ties, right? Right. Okay, so we're talking about also of or pertaining to one by birth, as in native land, right? Also used from early 15th century in a now obsolete sense of bound, right? We're talking about, in a sense, you're talking about servitude, but you're also talking in the sense of being connected to, right? You know, go look up what a Zion is. The second definition of a Zion is a branch that's been bound to an already existing tree. Again, a lot of it's word magic, but you can't limit you can't collapse the wave. I mean, that's what happened to Dragonfly Perspective, is to see the 360. So in any case, born in servitude, right, or serfdom. Europeans, right, the peon, right, of metals, there we go again, minerals, etc., occurring in a pure state in nature, 1690s. So native didn't pertain to metals until after 1690s, until after the invasion, until after they found you, after they searched for the cities to go, right? After they searched for Septimania. We're talking about, we're approaching on the 1700s before it even, related to the minerals of the earth. Native American is a reference to the Aboriginal people of America, is attested by Searson 1900s as the name of a journal devoted to Indian education. Now, I hope you understand, and a lot of vibrations, okay, what this is saying. Hawa. And why there is a distinction, between a native, as in an aboriginal, copper-colored races found here, right? And then those peoples, right, that perpetuate being native, Hawa, because they were born here. They're not native to the soil, but native after, right? In the early 1970s, activist Indian began calling themselves Native American, right? It started with an activism, right? from the peyote using Native American Church, right, incorporated in 1918 in Oklahoma, right, and subsequently in other states. You know what I'm saying? What's the real drop on Oklahoma City? I'm not the first person to say or point out, that the narrative we're given and really popping off from 1811 till now, it's not, the picture painted ain't the reality of what was popping off by any stretch of the imagination. And along those lines, along those terms, somewhere around 1856, after the Revolutionary War, to 1898, man, a lot of shit got flipped. And it's kind of trippy because we're not the only ones saying it. There's other schools of thought that are saying the same thing. This is why you have people like Mud Fossil out there, and Mr. BB something or other, and John Levi, and Autodidactic. We're not the only ones saying it. These are other people doing their own investigations, trying to, for their own reasons and schools of thoughts and justifications. But they're revealing a drop. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to, and I get it. If you haven't noticed, there are a lot of so-called white people that are trying to find Aboriginal roots outside of quote-unquote Indo-European. They're because Indo-Euro isn't Aboriginal. It's just a fact of the matter. Now, check this out. The newer term, aside from disassociating its user from the reservation life of the past, was a form of upmanship, since it reminded whites just who was, on the premises first, right? Rawson, wicked words, right? Native, mid-15th century, person born in bondage. What? 1550s, right? Mid-15th century. Now it's born in bondage. Okay. One born a serf or what? A villain. So who's the bad guy? A villain. Now this word actually takes you back into the word village. Sure does. You might want to dig on it. Dig on the pie. A sense now obsolete, right? They don't want to use that term no more, right? From native, the adjective, and in some usage, from medieval Latin, Nevadus. We covered that from the noun, right? Compare Old French naif, right, which also meant woman born in slavery from 1530s, right? One born in a certain place or country, right? Now let's get on this for the dismount, because we're coming to the end, right? Because we're talking about an American, how it's now applied to the Europeans born in America. And this is why we dug on that last drop first. Now, what are we talking about? We're talking about this here. This is the dichotomy of what you're reading when it comes down to the American being a melting pot, right? Or a salad bowl. And this is the homework you need to do, right? Because it really tells a story. You know what I'm saying? It tells a story in a big way to what they're doing on your land and what they're trying to accomplish and what you're seeing. But understand this above everything else. You're the bowl. You're the cup. Now, ask yourself again, do you think it's about time to empty your cup? Because look what's in your cup. That's claiming to be an American. Right? Right. But we're just talking about a native. Right? All goes back to being genuine for the dismount. See you on the pie. And I'll leave you guys with this. And we dug on this before. Right? What does it form all of a part of? You're gentle, you're Gentile, you're Genesis, right? Your nation, being a native, right? That Noel, that Elijah, right? Homogeneous, right? Goes back to your Genesis, right? Goes back to your gene. So let me explain something, and I'll leave you guys with this. When they say God, they mean dog. But when you say God, when you were saying God, by Picto-Paleo, you were saying the Ga, right? With the delta, with the door. Just Ga and door. What is that? It means the rope, right? The twisted, the DNA, the bloodline, right? And the door. That's why we say, Hallel Hawa, Hallel Hawa. That's why we say, Hawa is our power. Your power is your mama. Because your mama is what? She gives birth to the seed of a woman, and that's you, and that's me. Hallel Hawa, Hallel Hawa. I love y'all. Peace. Be genuine.